A few years back, Micromax reigned supreme in the low and mid-end segments in India. A little over a year back, that monopoly was rudely interrupted by Xiaomi's entry into India. Micromax's reaction was to spin off a sub-brand aimed to compete with Xiaomi. You versus me. That's what it's supposed to be. This little competition has yielded a bunch of low-cost, high-performance devices. While some have been great, others haven't. Into which category does Yunique, the latest release from you, fall? Well, let's find out. But before we do, if this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, this is A4A Tech, and you're watching my full review of the Yunique. Let's get started. As always, let's start with the built-in design. To the front, on top, we have a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, earpiece and sensors. U branding below, followed by a 4.7-inch display. The primary mic is situated at the bottom. To the back, we have an 8 megapixel camera with an LED flash. Note the Saturn rings, U seems to be developing an identity now. Anyway, we then have the U branding and a speaker. The back is quite prone to smudges, but it is user removable, and inside we find two SIM slots, a microSD card slot, and a 2000 mAh non-user replaceable battery. To the right, we have the volume rockers with a power button in the middle. The microUSB port can be found at the bottom. The Yunique has support for USB OTG, and that's nice. There's nothing to the left, and the 3.5mm headphone jack can be found up top. The Yunique, unlike its pricier sibling, the Euphoria, is entirely made out of plastic. It also sports a smaller display, doesn't offer capacitive keys as an option, and even lacks a secondary noise-cancelling microphone. The Yunique's also lighter and a tad slimmer than the Euphoria. That being said, this form factor, coupled with a soft touch back, makes for a secure grip and makes the Yunique great for single-handed usage. Moving on, the Yunique sports a Gorilla Glass 3 covered IPS LCD display. Spread over 4.7 inches, it results in a pixel density of 312 pixels per inch. The display is sharp, colors are okay, a little on the cooler side, but okay for the most part. Viewing angles are not the greatest, but are acceptable, especially when taking the price into consideration. Sunlight legibility is average. One major issue that I found with this display is that it lacks an oleophobic coating, meaning fingerprints and oil residue from your fingers will be very visible here. I guess there's a reason why you included a screen protector in the box. Anyway, moving on, the Yunique, just like the Euphoria before it, is powered by a Snapdragon 410 chip. That's a 64-bit chip with 4 Cortex A53 cores clocked at 1.2 GHz each, coupled with an Adreno 306 GPU. There's just half the storage and RAM here though, 8 gigs on board with 1 gig of RAM. The Yunique benchmarked a little lower than the Euphoria, but the real-time performance was surprisingly good. It even managed to run some intensive titles. If you tone down the graphical settings, the results were surprisingly smooth for a phone in this price segment. While the audio via the single rear speaker is loud, it does tend to get a little distorted at higher levels. Audio via headphones and call quality were good though. All this is powered by a 2000 mAh non-user replaceable battery, and the battery life was mediocre. On a looping video playback test, the Yunique lasted a little over 8 hours before running out of juice. With my regular kind of usage that involves Wi-Fi and 3G being always on, push notifications for mails and social media, a little bit of casual gaming and some video via YouTube, with this kind of usage, I got about 3 hours of screen on time. Not good, but not bad either. Like I said, mediocre. Anyway, moving on, let's now talk cameras. The Yunique sports an 8 megapixel rear and 2 megapixel front-facing camera setup, and the performance here was unimpressive. While yes, you could occasionally get a good shot, the images overall appeared washed out, the detail just wasn't there. White balance and exposure were okay though. The glass covering the rear camera, just like the display and the back of the phone, picks up a lot of smudges. This tends to show up in shots quite a bit, especially shots taken under low light. Talking about low light, pictures shot here have a ton of noise. 1080p videos again appeared washed out, lacked detail, the lens kept hunting for focus a lot. The 2 megapixel front facing shooter also failed to impress. The software is quite straightforward though. Provides some modes, is easy to access, works smooth. It's also worth noting that the shutter speed is slow. This is a 5000 rupee phone and the camera is a constant reminder of that fact. Maybe it's because the Yunique performs much better in other areas, maybe it's because the Redmi 2 spoiled us. Whatever the reason, I just couldn't stop feeling underwhelmed by this camera. Anyway, with that, let's now move on to the software. And the Yunique, unlike its brethren, runs on a stock build of Android 5.1 Lollipop. U has changed very little here. They just included a few of their own apps like the camera app and the Universe browser, which is basically a skinned Opera. You can move apps to the SD card, and it makes sense given that there's only 8 gigs of internal storage, and of that, only less than 5 gigs is available to the end user. The UI is fast and fluid, smooth for the most part, and the user experience was good. The Yunique performs well. Apps open up quick, the scrolling smooth, even multitasking's quite decent. If you're gonna end up picking a Yunique up, be prepared for a bit of lag, a few frames dropped, because at the end of the day, this phone packs the starter 410 SoC and just a gig of RAM. So, should you be picking a Yunique up? Is it worth the asking price of 5,000 rupees? Well, let's break it down. In the pros column, we have form factor, display, stock Android, call quality, and 4G LTE support. Under cons, we have smudges all over, an average battery life, a sad camera, and having just a gig of RAM. But then again, there aren't really any other phones that provide higher specs at this price range. And yeah, price. That's one of the biggest pros for the Yunique. But when we talk price, I also feel the need to mention the flash sales. You're gonna need a lot of patience if you want to get this phone. For what it's worth, another point worth noting is U's also working on its service and has recently introduced doorstep delivery of handsets dropped off in their service centers across 600 cities. Anyway, coming back to answer the question of is the Yunique worth the asking price, my answer would be a resounding yes. But yeah, there is a but. I'd say get the Yunique only if you really want to save that 2000 rupees, because the Euphoria at 6999 is a much better buy. You get metal, a better camera, double the storage, and most importantly, double the RAM. So there you have it, my 2 cents on the Yunique. Do you agree with my thoughts on it? Would you choose it over a second generation Moto E or a Redmi 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you do want to pick one up, I'll leave a direct link in the description below. So I guess that's it for this video. If you did like it, if you did find it useful, do give it a thumbs up. And for more videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. So thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.